There are a total of 17 damage dealer brawlers in the game, guys. And so in today's video, we're going to be ranking all damage dealers from the worst to the best, and I'm gonna give you guys the best builds for all of them. So let's start. At number 17, the worst damage dealer in the game is Eve. This is a pretty difficult ranking, guys, because all the damage dealers are actually super good. Okay, so Eve at last place is kind of surprising to a lot of people, but also a big reason why Eve is so bad in this current meta is because her special role of being able to walk on water has been taken by other brawlers like Angelo, and then the newest brawler Juju, and then RT can go over water too, and now Shade, the newest brawler, can also float over water. So it's like her special role has been taken, and so she's not that unique anymore, unfortunately, putting her in last place. And then at number 16, we have Shelly. Shelly is a really good tank counter, assassin counter, guys, and super good in low trophy ranges as well. But as you play, at higher ranges, you'll realize Shelly doesn't really have, the versatility and attributes to deal with these high powerful threats in the higher tiers. Her damage from a distance is not that good, and so she's very reliant on her clay pigeons gadget to deal additional damage from a distance. But otherwise, she can be pretty easy to counter with mid-range brawlers and longer range brawlers. And then at number 15, we have Spike. Spike did recently get a small buff to his damage, but even then, it's still not very strong in this current meta. Gets countered very easily by sharpshooters and throwers, especially the newest brawler Juju just shuts down Spike so easily. Juju has additional range and then does a lot of damage from a distance as well, shutting down Spike pretty easily in this meta. And that's why also we have 8-Bit at number 14. 8-Bit is struggling a lot in this current meta. He used to be very good, but just gets countered so easily because of his slow speed, especially against these newer, brawlers such as Juju shooting from a distance, and then Mo just taking advantage of 8-Bit's slow speed, charging his super very easily. Just so many threats to 8-Bit in this meta, keeping him at number 14. Next, at number 13, we have Carl. In my opinion, Carl's pretty underrated. Very good damage dealer from a distance, and also he's got a very deadly super. The only thing keeping Carl back is just how easy it is to shut him down. His super is very easy to reset, with a lot of these brawlers having knockback these days, like Mo, and then Daryl pushing him back with his knockback, Surge and his knockback, of course. Buzz can stun him. There's just so many ways to counter Carl, and so even though Carl is a great damage dealer, still at number 13 in the list. Next, moving on to number 12, we have Pearl. Pearl is a very underrated brawler. She's very deadly for passive combat. For example, in Knockout, where you can just wait, get your shield with her star power, and then her burning cookies gadget, if you employ that with full bar, you can deal so much damage with her. She can be a very deadly brawler when played right in this way. And then at number 11, we have Colt. Now, Colt is one of the highest damaging brawlers in the entire game, especially with his speed loader gadget, reload gear, making him the highest DPS brawler. But he's also a very risky brawler. His attack can be pretty easy to dodge, and then he also gets countered by other sharpshooters with longer range. And then a lot of maps having unbreakable walls can be a big issue for Colt as well. So even though he's a great brawler, he's also very high skill brawler, requires very good marksmanship with him in order to get the best value. And then at number 10, we have Lola. Lola is a brawler you're going to see pro players playing a lot more often than a brawler like Colt, mainly because Lola is kind of like Colt, just without the wall break ability. Her ego super combined with Lola, you're just going to get a lot of damage output with her. So she's a more safer option than Colt. She has higher health. She's got 2 great star powers, one that allows her to increase damage on her last ammo, or a sealed with Kiss star power that enables her to also be a healer. She has very versatile brawler, great DPS. And then at number 9, we have Chester. Now, Chester recently got a small nerf to his first star power. His first bell doesn't deal as much damage anymore. He also got a small nerf to his health, but he's still a very strong brawler in the meta. This meta is run a lot by tanks and assassins, and so having a Chester can be very useful because Chester's one of the best counters to those tanks and assassins. And then he also has very decent speed and health. He's a very bulky brawler at times, so can be very good in this current meta. Next, at number 8, we have Terra. Terra has been climbing the charts a lot, guys, ever since she got her hypercharge. A lot of people are realizing just how powerful that hypercharge is. The ability to just destroy the environment better than her normal super. And then that pull and then additional damage makes her a very deadly brawler, especially late in the game where you can employ that super hypercharge and just turn the tides of a game. Very powerful brawler. And then you also use her shadows. You can block single target brawlers. She's a good counter to a brawler like Surge, who's just so popular, along with other single targeting brawler. Next, at number 7, we have Nita. Now, Nita is a piercing brawler. She does splash damage, so she can actually directly counter a brawler like Terra. On top of that, Nita is just so good and versatile in so many areas. Great against common tanks and assassins because you can just use her to charge your super, get her bear. She's also super powerful on heist, especially maps where, you know, range isn't an issue. For example, a map like Hot Potato where she can hide in the bushes, feed off of these aggro brawlers, tanky brawlers, such as, you know, the common tanks like Bull or even Daryl. All of these brawlers that Nita can utilize to charge your super, use your hyper bear, and deal so much damage. She's a great underrated brawler in this meta. And then at number 6, we have Colette. And we can't forget about Colette. She's one of the best counters to tanks. She is a tank eater, the best counter to Frank. And so having a Colette is a very good benefit in this current meta. Does so much damage with her hypercharge, making her one of the best brawlers in heist because of that. Because of her hypercharge super does insane amounts of damage. So Colette's always going to be a great brawler because of that, just because of how powerful of a counter she is to tanks. Moving on to the top 5 damage dealers. At number 5, we have RT. Now, RT is one of the best brawlers in the entire game, but he's also super underrated. A lot of people for some reason don't like playing him, and that's, I think, is probably because of just how hard it is to hit his main attack. It requires a lot of skill, but does so much damage. So he's a great counter to other long-range brawlers, especially because he's also very tanky in both of his forms, in his normal form and his tank form, that he can just use a gadget now to just pop, convert into tank form and counter assassins, counter tanks, and then he can also counter long-range brawlers because of his high health and his long attack range. So he's pretty much a tank counter on top of a sniper counter. Just so versatile, guys, and that's why you've seen RT played by pros all the time in esports. Next, at number 4, we have Rico, one of the most dominant brawlers in this current meta, especially on maps that he's so dominant. There's just so many maps that you can just bounce your balls all over the place with Rico. And then he has a hypercharge that's insane, one of the best hypercharges in the game, because it makes his balls pretty much bounce everywhere in the entire map, making it so incredibly difficult to dodge. He's a great brawler because of that, the ability to team wipe enemies. He has a gadget that you can just employ if the enemy gets too close to you. That bouncy gadget, balls going everywhere, just eating up your assassins and tanks. He's just so good because of that. And then at number 3, we have Clancy. Clancy is one of the best tank counters, assassin counters in the game. And then on top of that, he has super versatile options because he also has very good range, especially once you have him upgraded to his 3rd form. You got increased speed, increased damage. He's got a super that's just gonna delete tanks and assassins. He's incredibly OP in that regard. Moving on to the top 2 damage dealers. Number 2, we still have Surge, one of the best brawlers in the entire game. Top 5 brawler in the game. Even with his recent nerf to his hypercharge rate, they nerfed it a little, but it doesn't really matter. It didn't really do anything to him. He is still one of the best brawlers in the game because he's knockback with his super makes him extremely powerful counter to assassins and tanks. And on top of that, once you have him upgraded, he provides you with everything. Long range. He's got an uncounterable hypercharge super that he can spread everywhere. Enemies can't escape it. And then of course speed. He's just got so much versatility and making him one of the best brawlers in the entire game. And then number 1, we have none other than Mo. Guys, Mo is still one of the best brawlers in the entire game. That's mainly because of his insane super, the ability to go underground, knock enemies back, and then he also has another gadget that can break walls, knock them back. When he uses his super, he can then use his super again to even super kick the ball in Brawl, or even convert back to his normal form to deal even more damage. He's got great damage from distance, great damage from close range. He's got it all, guys. He's got an attack that's very hard to dodge as well. Those rocks spread everywhere, making Mo the best damage dealer in the game, hands down. So hope you guys enjoyed the rating. All 17 damage dealers ranked. Let me know in the comments below which brawlers you think are underrated and which you think maybe I overrated. Let me know. I'm interested to reading your comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next ranking video. Take care.